So guys, before we get started, don't forget we do have that amazing discount code thanks to Tier 0 Games going on right now. And all you have to do is put in ZW Games 5 to get 5% discount on your total order at tier0games.com. The links will be in the description below. Visit Venom Battle Gear, where you can pick up your very own limited edition print of our Yugi mat with Dark Magician Girl, and Dark Magician of Chaos. Artwork is exclusively designed by Nixie Arts as well, so check out her link in the Instagram below. Pick it up for shipping worldwide.
Good evening, YouTube. This is Dale from Zephyr War Games, bringing another commentary on one of our local duels. So this weekend I decided to take Yugioh's Burning Abyss Dogmatika deck to locals. I've made my own personal changes to it and personalised it a bit, and I'm up against Rob, who is playing Eldlich Synchro. Now, I start off with normal summon Fiendish Rhino. For some reason, because I'm a little bit rusty on this, I thought that Fiendish Rhino was a foolish burial on summon, so that is completely my fault. But then what I do is I special summon Farfar, using his own effects. I have no spells and traps. Make Dante, excavate the top three. Nothing hits except for the Fiendish Rhino, which will send Graf, and then Graf will then allow me to continue the combo, basically. So off of Graf, what you do is you special summon Seer, and then the idea is that you're going to link the two together. So you link Dante and Seer together, and that is going to go into like an IP Masquerena. That will then allow you to trigger Dante and Seer. Seer will then allow you to revive Dante, and then Dante will allow you to add Seer back to hand. You then discard a Burning Abyss card, which in my case was Seer. I will eventually. And that will allow me to go into Beatrice. So straight away that gives you two forms of interruption to your opponent. One with Beatrice sending Farfar, and one with IP Masquerena linking up. I would so like Seer and Graf to come back to a little bit more than once. And Beatrice, actually. It's so difficult playing with the one Beatrice. But I've also opened up, so I've got Foolish Burial, I've got Ash Blossom, and I've also got the Dogmatika Knight Philidius. So I activate the Foolish Burial just to kind of get my end phase going. So I send the Scam, because there's not really anything else that I want to send right now. I didn't open up with the Dogmatika engine, so I couldn't complete that combo. But just by sending Scam, I got that play ready, set up to go next turn. Well, not that particular play, but it does give me another Dante play coming off of Tour Guide. I'd love to see Tour Guide back to 3 as well. I think that's very doable in this current format. So then I'm passing to Rob. Rob is then going to draw. Now, I don't think he opens up like amazing well. I think he has, if I remember rightly, he's got Forbidden Droplet. And that's pretty much going to turn off IP and IP and Beatrice, if I remember correctly. It's either in this game or it's in the next game. I know he definitely has it on at one point. So I'm like, oh, okay. The Ash Blossom in my hand is still pretty good. The Philidius is kind of good. There's no Dogmatika to kind of negate the effects. Yeah, so he does have Droplet, but he decides to choose. So he chooses to send 2 traps, which, in fairness, with Eldlich is actually quite good. So he's going to turn those off and halve their attacks, but because he only sends a trap, I'm actually going to consider chaining with Beatrice. That's only going to get me an additional send, basically. It's not going to get me anything else. So this will either give me... I've already gone for my Graf, I've already gone for my Seer. So the only thing that I can really go for is something like a Libic, or send another Scam so that I get another end phase search. So I'm just kind of measuring up what it is I exactly want to send off of the Beatrice. There's no point in sending a Farfar, and I think this one is just literally to deck thing out a card that I don't really want to be top decking. So Scam is like the most logical one to send, because then at least I'll get a search in my opponent's end phase. And then my hand is still Ash, Philidius, and one other card, Tour Guide, because I searched that off in the last one as well. So, like I said, I'm a little bit rusty on the whole Burning Abyss deck itself, because I haven't played it for a long time. So I'll send Alec just as a deck fin. I clearly overlook that. And then because I detach Dante's effect's going to go off, and I add the Seer back to my hand. So I just continue the loop going, basically. My IP is obviously down to 400. And my Beatrice is unaffected, like not unaffected, but it's still got a 2800 defense because Droplet is only attack that it halves, so that's kind of cool. I don't think Rob has very much else to kind of do from here. He if I remember correctly, he doesn't really go too far. So he banishes the Sanguine. Sanguine is going to let him set, I believe he chooses Hiquero, or it might be Conquistador. Just waiting for him to search his deck to finish that one off. Yeah, so he went for Conquistador. Quite understandable. Conquistador is the stronger one in my opinion. A lot more powerful. Well, I suppose depending on what deck you're playing against, can be more or less damaging depending. So he sets a Conquistador, sets one more, and then activates the Golden Land. And this is where he gets into trouble because he doesn't obviously ash that. And so his play was Droplet, Golden Land, and then go from there. But an ash on the Golden Land leaves him with no like power play monsters to kind of do anything with, which is quite damaging. So moving to end phase, he activates Hiquero, and because he's got no Golden Lords, he needs to make a play that's going to get him to a Golden Lord. So the next best thing that he can set, I believe, is Black Awakening. So now I've got no other plays to make right now. There's no end phase Scarm on this one. IP was negated. Luckily, it survived. So there was nothing really going to cause me major issues. I've got Tour Guide, I've got Seer in hand, I've got Philidius, and then I top deck into what looks like a Libic, which is actually not bad because if Libic hits the board and then nukes itself, that will give me the Seer play. I've still got the Philidius, so I can special Philidius and just do a bit of damage, but I know that there's going to be a Conquistador there and there's a Hiquero, so there's two cards that are just going to try and wall up for Rob should he need it, and then the Black Awakening is pretty dead. So we're going to go for the full Tour Guide combo because this is obviously going to lead me into Dante. Oh, he had a Sanguine. Yeah, so the Sanguine's going to go into Golden Lord, and then he's going to hold on to that Conquistador. So I think I now play a little bit more cautiously because I know that Conquistador's there, but I mean with Burning Abyss it really doesn't matter because let's bring out Farfar. I'm just going aggression. Let's go. I'm going to overlay those into Dante. If he wanted to, he could try and kill my Tour Guide with the Conquistador. So I'm going to overlay these going to Dante. Now, if he kills the Dante, that's fine, but he doesn't. So I get to use Dante's effect. We excavate Farfar, or we detach Farfar, excavate Philidius, Droplet, and I think it's a second Droplet. I think it's two Droplets. So Dante is going up to 15, going up by 1500. So he's on 25. Farfar's effect is going to resolve to target the Golden Lord. So now he has to use Conquistador, otherwise Conquistador's not going to get a pop. Depending on what he chooses to pop, will then dictate, like, logically IP is probably the one you want to take out, in my opinion. That's what I would take out, but he goes for Dante, which is, you know, I'm not complaining because Dante's then going to trigger, and it can add back pretty much. I think there's a Graph in there, there's a Farfar, there's Libic, there's everything. So I add the Farfar back. All I've got to deal with is I think 1800 defender, so I'm going to special summon down the Philidius, I think, just to get a bit more damage going. There's no real point in making an Appaloosa against Rob. I mean, yeah, you can do for the Synchro combo, but I think right now it's just about putting damage on board. Like, the fact IP survived is insane, so I can just go, cool, let's go switch to attack of Beatrice, special down Philidius. Philidius takes out Philidius or Beatrice, doesn't matter, they're both the same attack, I think. Takes out the Conquistador. I think I miss giving my I forget to give my Philelius an extra 500 because I'm so used to attacking with others. So Philelius attacks, goes out to 3k, then Beatrice attacks for 25, and then IP in for 800. Now I know the last one's Black Awakening, so I kind of went with a more defensive play, because like what I could have done is I could have gone into Unicorn and spun the Black Awakening, but by holding that back, what I can now do is, I mean, I kind of forgot about the Black Awakening, but what I can now do, the reason for adding back the Farfar is you go into Unicorn, discard the Farfar, spin a card with Unicorn, and then you banish a card with Farfar. So it's like, yay, double knots. He's still got the 800 he can pay on the Golden Lands Forever as well. He's also got the ability to be searching out with setting with Sanguine, which is again absolutely fine. So sets a Conquistador. Such a good card, Conquistador. I really, really like it. So I mean, at current, I've got 2 forms of interruption for his board, but disappointingly, well, Unicorn's any card, but that's kind of why I didn't shotgun Unicorn as well, as I was holding back for a monster to hit the board. He can't use that Conquistador, he's just said it. He's got 1 card in hand. I'm not really in a threatened position at this moment in time. It's kind of like old school 2016 BA control. So he still has 2. He's got 2 cards in his hand. No, I don't know either of those, so that's kind of interesting. No, unless I want to discard the Seer to bring back a Dante. There's again, Farfar's the optimal target and play. So he's already down 16 plus 33. So 49. So he's already down 49. Which means next turn, as long as I can get rid of the Golden Lord, I can pretty much go in for game from that point on. So here it is. So he's done Magician Souls. He's activated Magician Souls in hand. Now, obviously, I'm not going to let him start sending stuff. So I chain IP Masquerena, and this is where I get maximum value out of IP Masquerena and Unicorn. So I use Philelius. I want to leave Beatrice on there for him to try and kill Beatrice, which is fine. Going to Unicorn. Unicorn is going to discard Farfar. Targeting the Golden Lord with Unicorn, and then Farfar to target the Souls, because obviously I'd rather him have... I mean, if I put Souls back in deck, he'd have another brick, but then the Golden Lord would come back next turn and he'd have Conquistador to cause me issues. So by doing it this way, basically you're putting the Golden Lord back into the deck, which you don't really want him to draw it. He's already gone through 2 Sanguines, which is fine. And then he sets like a, if I remember right, like a Despot 001. So, yeah, so I've got a Seer and a Libic. So I know what's on the Libic. The Libic's going to nuke himself, destroy himself, brings back the Seer with his effects negated. And I think my top deck was Ecclesia, like the best Dogmatika you could have possibly top decked. Like outside of Nadir's Servant, it was like the best. So I was debating using Seer and Unicorn to go into Appaloosa, but like there was no need. There was no like advantage to that whatsoever. Like I'd bring back a Dante, but I'd be taking 38 off of the board. For some reason, the camera wants to start playing up with the focus. So yeah, now all I'm trying to figure out is like his set can't be anything damaging. Like there's nothing there that's going to be a crazy defense in an Eldlich deck right now. So it was just whether I wanted to go back into the extra deck before I dropped the Ecclesia, and I pretty much get a little bit silly here. I probably could have just gone in for game, but like just to be safe, because the way I was calculating this was the 2 backs could be Haquero and Conquistador, and then the face down. So I would need I need 5 monsters on board to clear that off and get game. So I went with Ecclesia, search out Maximus. Maximus summons itself down. Send Double Unst. Double Unst is going to get rid of both the back row. If he wants to chain them, he can. But then that pretty much clears me up, because then it's like, all right, cool. I've got 5 monsters on board. I've got enough to clear off 3 of your cards and then pretty much do the remaining damage. So pretty much covered all bases. And I've only summoned 3 times as well, so Nibiru wasn't a danger. So yeah, one was Aquera, one was Conquistador. And then I was like, I risk it, attack, and clear board off. Straight into game 2. So obviously normal summon Jet Synchron. I still think this is crazy, like how this level 1 card can get you all the way to a draw 2 and a VFD, which is exactly what he does. So, and this is kind of the moment where you're like, yeah, cool, VFD, I guess this is gonna be game. It's very rare that you see many people break the VFD lock, unless you top deck like a Forbidden Droplet or an Imperm or something meta relevant like that, to be totally honest. So full on combo, done the whole thing. Halley Firebrax, Aurora Dawn, Despot, you name it. No, I think the VFD combo is better, because it replenishes your hand. It gives you the ability to 2-turn completely shut down your opponent, whereas I suppose if we went for Herald, that would cause me some issues, because everything that's sent from the deck is banished instead. So that could be quite an issue. But he goes into Crocosaur, goes into Coral Dragon comes back, Vermilion Dragon Mech, overlay 2, VFD, and I'm just like, ugh, I've got to survive 2 blooming turns with this. I think luckily I'm actually quite happy, because I've got Nadir's Servant in hand and I've got Farfar in hand as well. So I was like, okay, worst case scenario, just set Farfar, let him kill it, and then banish the VFD, and then I haven't got to worry about another VFD lockdown. So, and I think I luckily survived, depending on what else he puts on board, backing it all up. I think annoyingly as well, I've got the 2-card combo that pretty much gives me everything I need. Yeah, I got Tour Guide. I think I ended up opening up both my Tour Guides, which was ridiculous. A Fiendish Rhino, a Farfar, and a Dear Servant. I was like, okay then. So, and this is the best thing about like Eldlich with this, is the Synchro engine, because he literally just goes, okay, cool. So I've drawn 2. I'm going to use a Golden Land. I'm going to set my back row up with Aqueros, Conquistadors, you name it. I'm going to cause you so many issues. So standby, shotguns, VFD, True King of All Calamities. I'm like, okay, cool. What am I going to do here? I was like, right, let's do it this way. Let's set Farfar. The only disappointing thing, like I got Ecclesia and I've got Nadir's Servant. But like the only disappointing thing about this is if he had anything to clear off the Farfar in the end phase, then I'd be in serious trouble, because then it'd be like, okay, cool, clear off the Farfar, banish the VFD, but then you're still going to have VFD, and then as long as you've got access to a Golden Lord, your Golden Lord is going to pretty much cause me like pretty much going to give me game, because then it's like 55 already. So he's got a Sanguine, which is going to trigger in the end phase to summon a Golden Lord. So he's already 1 Golden Lord up on me, and it's like, yeah, cool, great. Sorry for the glare, guys. Obviously, it's not my venue, so I can't control the light as easy as I usually am able to. So like, cool, right. So my single Farfar is facing down a VFD and what could eventually be 2 Golden Lords. So now the only thing that I can possibly pray for is that he attacks with a Golden Lord, because if he attacks with a VFD, I'm going to be taking 5k to the face. If he attacks with a Golden Lord, I'm only going to take 25 to the face. So really dependent on where he kind of choose to go from here. It's got all the set cards. Yeah, like if I had to sit under VFD for another turn, I would have been in trouble. So like Farfar literally saves me. So he got the, not Black Awakening, but the other one that lets him summon a Golden Lord from hand or grave. So he attacks with a Golden Lord. Farfar is going to trigger. It's during damage steps, you can't call it. So it's like, yay. I don't think he has it anyway. So I have to get rid of VFD. VFD loses a material, which is fine. And I'm happy to take the 25 to the face because now it means my entire turn is now unlocked. The only time that it would be a big issue is if he played like the rank 10 train, and I'm like, yep, cool. Yeah, so attacks with Golden Lord. He gets the VFD back during his end phase. It's my turn. I've got full combo, so like I've just got to be careful of his back row and how I do it. Luckily, I've got a couple of BAs in hand that are spare, so I can just go, okay, special summon, and do some plays from there. So normal summon in the tour guide, go straight off with that one. This will bring out any Ashes, any Ogres, any Veilers, anything like that. I think he's got the Ash, if I remember rightly. He's got the Ogre, which is absolutely fine because, again, you want to make sure your Nadir Servant goes off. That's like your Nadir Servant gets you, could get you a pop plus a search plus 2 pops or a search. So eventually you're ended up with 2 searches and a pop. So I special the Graph, I special Alec, I go into Dante. Again, another ways of baiting out any hand traps or any issues. Detach the Graph, which is I should have probably detached the Alec because now I lost the Graph. He chains Conquistador to kill the Dante, which is fine. Effect will resolve, excavating free, so I'll get a Libic, which is a nice little hit, and an Ecclesia, and then I've got the Dante effect. So Dante's effect is going to add back the Graph. Oh, sorry, no, Graph came off of Tour Guide. Apologies. So Graph is going to special Scarm. Dante is adding back Farfar. And Libic is going to special summon one from hand, I believe. Oh no, there we go. So Dante adds back the Farfar. Graph specials the Seer. And Libic specials the Scarm. There we go. Got it eventually. I saw a lot going on. So I mean, I think what the gimmick behind this deck is you're literally, with the invoked version, you swap out your Alistair going into Macabre. So you swap out your Omni Negate for a IP interruption and a Beatrice interruption. So it's a bit of give and take. Anyway, so we're going into a second Dante. Dante's effect to Excavate. Detaching the Seer, so I'm going to get a Revival from Grave, which is great. Absolutely nuts. Dante, the banished dodger. And he goes and chains a blooming Forbidden Droplet. So obviously Dante excavates the cost, so I still got to pay the excavations. I'm going to pay the 3 anyway. Hit the Fiendish Rhino, which isn't bad. So Seer and Fiendish Rhino. I've pretty much gone through most of my BA cards, so I'm going to send the Farfar. Farfar is going to banish... Seer is going to revive a Dante, I think. Yeah, Seer revives the Dante. Loop-de-loop. And Farfar is going to banish... I think I choose to banish the VFD because it's the only one at this particular moment in time that I can't get over. But of course I do still have the Nadir Servant, which is a massive game changer right now. So I've just got to decide where I'm going to go from here. As long as I've got a BA in hand, I'm turning one of the Dantes into a Beatrice. That Dante is like fully negged, so it's of no use to me. I've got Fiendish Rhino, Nadir. I think I've got Ecclesia as well in hand. I'm not too sure if my last one's a BA or not. And I've got to be very careful here because obviously I've got no other way of getting back the Dante. I think this is where I misplay. I think I'm trying to recall this. This all happened this morning, so I'm like, did I do that? Can I remember doing that? I'm not too sure. It's got IP, got Unicorn. I'm just trying to I was trying to consider figuring out how to clear the board off. Now, obviously, the ability to kind of clear everything off. So basically, I special summoned the BA from hand. This is where I made the mistake. So I specialed the BA from hand, went into IP Masquerena, used Dante's effect to add back any of the cards that I think I used all their effects. So I think it was a Scam. It might have been no, Scam was attached. Can't remember what was it. A Rubik? It might have been a Rubik. It was definitely one that I was no use to me apart from just as a free level 3 extender. So whatever I add back is just going to turn the Dante that's in defense into a Beatrice, basically. I'm just kind of confirming with myself what I had used, and kind of go from there. So add back Farfar. Ditch the Farfar, turn into a Beatrice. This is crazy. Like, I've done all of it. Right, I'm well within the Nibiru territory, but I've done all of this. I've still got Ecclesia and I've still got Nadir's Servant. So Ecclesia adds me Maximus. Nadir's Servant can add me Philidius. And I send an Unst. So we go with Maximus, send 2. So send double Unst, pop double Golden Lord. It's like, bye Golden Boy. So that's like his biggest danger threat out of the way. I've still got Nadir's Servant. Nadir can send me, as long as I send something of 25 or higher. So, oh, what the hell did I put Almirage in there? That's a mistake. It should have been anything but Almirage, okay? So yeah, that's a mistake on my behalf. I mean, I either way, like what I could have done is I could have just done the Maximus the other way around. So Maximus send Almirage and an Unst, and then Philidius send the second Unst. So yeah, that's a mistake. It should be anything but that. Add the Philidius and then special the Philidius during the main phase, and then Philidius attacks for 3k, Beatrice for 27, IP for 28, and then a Maximus for 2k for game to wrap it up. Yeah, so definitely a shout out to Yugioh on that one. I really enjoyed playing the Burning Abyss Dogmatikas. I think they're really fun, and it was a good run out as well. So I will profile my version of that later on this week. But thank you everyone that watched. I hope you enjoyed it. It's a little bit of a different duel to Burning Abyss deck you haven't seen be played before. So thanks for watching. Like, comment, subscribe, share. Till next time, guys. As absolutely always, happy dueling.
So guys, before we get started, don't forget we do have that amazing discount code thanks to Tier 0 Games going on right now. And all you have to do is put in ZW Games 5 to get 5% discount on your total order at tier0games.com. The links will be in the description below. Visit Venom Battle Gear, where you can pick up your very own limited edition print of our Yugi mat with Dark Magician Girl, and Dark Magician of Chaos. Artwork is exclusively designed by Nixie Arts as well, so check out her link in the Instagram below. Pick it up for shipping worldwide.